All right. The next thing we're moving into now is a SQL injection. So as we all know, SQL injection stands from a structured query language, SQL injection. SQL injection stands from a structured query language. So what does this type of attack is? When you're talking about SQL injection, this is type of an attack that focus on a database just to have access to the backend database, and they can make use of that to modify, make changes to any information that is in the backend server. So a SQL injection is when a bad guy tries to interfere with the query that an application making to their server. And when the bad guy able to interfere, they can make changes to anything over there and they can modify anything once they are successfully inject that particular attack. Okay, so what we're going to be doing now here is that we're going to be showing a demonstration on how a SQL injection attack works and how you can prevent yourself from such attack. So the website we'll be using here is a vulnweb. So if I open my web browser, so I'm going to browse to this particular website, which is a vulnweb.com. So here is the website that we'll be using. So actually, this particular website here is developed for educational purpose. So anytime you want to try this type of a demonstration, you should use it on a website that you have access. Shouldn't go and use it on someone else's website, because once you be caught, the person is going to be going for jail for such acts. So the website we're using here is a vulnweb. And if I open this my command here, you will see that the command we have here, the first thing inside this command here is a L-square map. L-square map here is the tools that we are using to carry out the SQL injection. So we have different tools that we can use to carry out SQL injection attack. But the tools we are using in this demonstration here is a SQL map, and -u here start from a URL, which is the website URL. So this is the website URL, and the -dbs here says that we want to see whatever they are using as their database. So the website we want to attack here is a vulnweb. This is the website. So this is the website. I want to see whatever they are using as the database on this particular website. It wants to be seeing everything that they are using as a database on this particular website. That's the function of the first command. SQL map here is the tools that we use to carry out the attack. -u here starts from the URL, which is the website URL. And -dbs here now says that we want to list everything that they are using as their database. So we're going to copy this command. So we're going to copy this command. So once I copy this command, I'm going to enter my parrot and I will paste the command into the parrot. So before I hit enter key, I'm still going to explain the function of this command here once again. So hold on. I'm still going to explain the function of this command here once again. SQL map here is the tools that we use to carry out the SQL injection attack. -u here stands from a URL, which is the URLs to that particular website that we want to attack. This is the website that we want to attack. This is the URL. So what is the function of -dbs? -dbs is to list whatever they are using as a database. So if I hit enter key, you hold on for this particular tools to finish launching. So we're going to hold on. All right, so there's a little issue here. So let me check my internet. If there's a internet. All right, so as you can see, there is a internet error on the, so let me try to fix the problem. So there's an internet error on it. So there's an internet error. Let's try to check where the problem is. So if I enter my virtualbox, I goes to settings, I goes to network. Let me use NAT and let's see. So if I use NAT, so if I use NAT, all right. So let me use NAT. We are able to use NAT. Let's check maybe the internet has been restored. So as you can see, there's now internet access. I'm going to use Ctrl Z. So I'm going to be using that command again. I've explained the commands to you. Just hit enter key and let the command finish launching. Okay. So it's going to be asking you a question. Just be typing no. If you ask you a question, you're going to type no. Hit enter key. So you're going to hold on for it. You're going to wait for the information to arrive. So if you ask your question again, you're going to type no. All right. So when this information is done, this launching is done, if I scroll up here, you're going to see here says that the back-end database management system is a MySQL. Basically, we have different type of database. We have a database that is MySQL. We have MS SQL. We have a lot of database. But the database that is running on this particular vulnweb, the database, the name of the database is a MySQLi. And if you come here, the operating system that is running on the web server is a Linux. And you will see the web application that they are using is the Engines. And if you see the back-end database management system is a MySQL, which is a MySQLi, and this is the version of the database. So here now says the available database that we see when we're talking about they are running MySQL, and the names of the available database, they have two. They have two available database. The first one here is a Aquat, and the second one is a information schema. So those are the two available databases that they have. So put it in mind, the first command here is to list what they are using as their database and the type of database that they are using. So let's go to the second command. The second command here now say SQL map -u, which is the URLs to the websites, -d, which is the database of Aquat. We want to list all the tables that we have in the database of Aquat. Because when we're talking about database consists of a table and a column. All right. So we want to see all the available tables and all the available columns that we have in the database of Aquat. So how do we get Aquat? We get Aquat from this first scanning. We are able to know that they have a database named Aquat. So we now want to check the table that they have in the database of Aquat. That's the function of the next command. So I'm going to paste this command here. And before I hit enter key, I'm going to explain once again. SQL map here is the tools that they use to carry out the SQL injection. -u here stands from the URL, which is the URLs to the website. This is the URLs to the website. And what's the function of -d? -d here says in the database of a Aquat, D here stands from database. In the database that name Aquat, which is the first information we get here, we want to see everything that they has as a tables inside the database of a Aquat. So I'm going to hit enter key. So once you hit enter key, hold on for the information to arrive. So once I scroll up, you can see here now says that in the database of the Aquat, we found 8 tables, which means that there is a different 8 tables that is present in the database of Aquat. The first table consists of a artist. The second table consists of cats. Third table is a category. Fourth one is a features. We have guest book, picture, product, and users. So those are the different tables that we are able to find inside the database of Aquat. So let's go to the next command. The next command now says SQL map, which is the tools that we are using to carry out the attack. -U here start from the URL, which is the URLs to the website, and -D is a database, which is the database of Aquat. We want to see everything that they has as a column. So we'll copy this command, we'll go to the parrot and we'll paste it. I'm going to explain this command once again before I hit enter key. The first command we use is to see all the tables, and I explained to you inside the database consists of tables and columns. So we are able to see the tables. This second command here now says SQL map, which is the tools we are using. -U is the website URL. What's the function of -D? D here is the database. In the database of Aquat, we want to see whatever they are using as a column in the database of Aquat. Hit enter key and hold on for us to see how many columns they have in the database of Aquat. So as you can see, if I scroll up, each table here, if I scroll up, you know that here we found 8 tables. Each table going to be having their own columns. So if I come down here, the first table that we have here, in the table that name artist, we found 3 columns. In the table that name Aquat, in the table that name guest book, we found 3 columns. If you scroll down, in the database of Aquat and in the tables of features, we are able to see 2 columns. If you scroll down, database of Aquat, tables of pictures, we are able to see 8 columns. So that's how you'll be checking all those columns. But where all those bad guys going to be interested, it is in the tables of the users. This is where they're going to be interested. Here now says in the database of the Aquat and in the tables of the users, we are able to see 8 columns. So let's see the 8 column that we are able to see in the users table. The first column consists of addresses, which is the user's address. The second column contains of the user cards. Third one contains the user's credit card. Fourth one contains the user's email address. Next one contains the user's names. Next one contains the user password. We have phone number and we have username. Those are the columns that we are able to find on the tables of users. All right, so let's go to the next command. The next command here now says SQL map, which is the tools we are using. -U here is a URL, and here is a website URL that we are trying to attack. And -D here, database of Aquat. And in the table, which is T here stands from tables of user. What does C stand from? C stands from column. In the column of password, we want to dump everything that is inside the password. All right, so here says SQL map, the tools we are using to launch the SQL injection. -U, the URL to the website. -D, database of Aquat. -T, tables of users. -C, column of password. We want to dump whatever the password they are using there. Okay, so we're going to copy this command here. Copy the command and you open your parrot. So we're going to paste the command and you hit enter key. So we hold on. We want to see whatever they are using as a user password. We want to see the password that they are using. All right. As you can see, here says in the database of the acquired and in the table of the users, we are able to find one entry. And the entry says the password is what? Is test. So we are able to guess that the password of the users is test. So when we're able to get the password, the next thing is for us to get the username. So if I come back here, if I come to the user column, you can see inside this user column, we are able to get the password. The next thing is to get the username, which is a U name. We are able to get the password as a test. So the next thing for us is to get the username. So we'll come back to this command. If you see this command that we are using the column of password, the next thing is to change it to the column of a U name, which is a username, so that we're going to get whatever the username they are using. So we're going to copy. Once you copy, come here, and I'm going to be it and paste it here. And before I hit enter key, I'm still going to explain again. SQL map is the tools for SQL injection. -U is the website URL, which is this. -D is the database of acquired. And see here in the table of the users, see here in the column of a U name, we want to dump whatever they are using as a username. We want to see all what they use as a username. So you hit enter key. So once we hit enter key, we allow these guys to come up. All right, so once you see here, you're going to see that in the database of the acquired and in the table of user, one entry found, which is the username of what? Of test. We are able to see the username and test, and we are able to see the password of test, which means that the username of and password is a test. So once we get the information, if you come back to this website and we click on your profile, and we'll log in using the information we are able to get, which is a test, and we'll click on login. You will see that we are able to get the user's name, the user credit card, the user's email address, user phone number, and the addresses of the particular user. So that's how a SQL injection is carried out. You see here, we are able to get access to the back-end server, and we are able to see the information. A bad guy can actually modify anything here. They can make changes to anything, they can do anything here, and they can use the information of the users, and they can use the information of the users. So that's how a SQL injection is being carried out. So how can we prevent yourself from this such attack? The best thing is to make sure that you secure your database server. The best thing is to make sure that you secure your database server. Make sure that there is no any vulnerability on the database, because a single vulnerability can give bad guy access to exploit SQL injection on your website. They can attack a SQL injection on your website. So once there is no vulnerability, there is no way a bad guy can hack your website and have access into your backend database. Okay, and make sure there is a network devices that will be securing your network, so that there's no way a bad guy will be able to have a successful SQL injection on your network. So that's how SQL injection is being carried out. And bad guy going to have access into your backend server. They can make changes to any information, and they can use the information against that particular victim. All right, so that's where we'll stop for this particular topic. So do you have any question regarding